Welcome to Manny's TV Talk, where we will talk about all of our favorite reality TV shows and news surrounding them. Grab a snack, a drink, and get comfortable because this starts now. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the new episode of Vanderpump Rules. That's season 11, episode 12. Let's get right into it.
I hate it.
You'd feel differently if you went through what I went through and I was writing a song about you. But that's okay, it's fine. No.
She wouldn't have done this.
Keep cashing in on my misery.
So, we start the episode with Sheena, who is filming a music video for her Gold is New, Good is Gold, whatever her song is called. But didn't that come out like 10 years ago? Anyway, they filmed the music video. Lala is there and so is Ariana. Sheena is upset that Katie bailed out. She said she was sick, but she thinks that it might have something to do with her not wanting to see Lala after their fight. But they filmed this music video. Looked like Sheena had a lot of fun, and the song was like a heavy metal remix. But guess what, you guys? This day that they're filming is the same day that Raquel's podcast with Bethany Frankel came out. Now, they didn't say Bethany Frankel explicitly, but that's what they were talking about. Because it was, they were talking about, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. So, Allie, we see her telling James about this, and the girls also talked about it. We're seeing like both scenes at the same time at the rehearsal. Some notable things that they took out of the podcast was that Raquel said that she never truly loved Sandoval. She said her and Ariana were not really that close of friends, and that Sheena had a savior complex, and that she even helped pay her rent. And of course, everyone is trying to deny. Also, Lala is having a sperm donor party. She did ask Ariana if she could host it in her house, but after Anne left, the house looks like worse than a zoo, which is really embarrassing for both Sandoval and Ariana. Y'all are hard 40-year-olds. Clean your house. My gosh. So Lala's now going to ask Lisa Vanderpump if she can use her house instead. So then we see Dumb and Dumber. Sandoval goes over to Schwartz, and Sandoval is heartbroken because it hurt him to hear Raquel say that she never truly loved him, and he starts to cry. He just starts bawling because he says she was kind of like the only little hope that I had left. He says he did love and care for her, and to a certain extent, I do think it made him upset to hear that. Like for her to kind of sort of like deny the experience that they had. But Schwartz tells him, this is it. With you and her, it is over forever. And I think that it is in this moment that Sandoval also kind of realized that all of this was not worth it. Moving on, we see LVP. She goes to Tom Tom's. She's meeting the Toms to try some new brunch cocktails that they're coming up with, but Sandoval's still not there. He's like 30 minutes late, which is not okay. But Schwartz says that, Sandoval's upset over the Raquel stuff. And Lisa says, who cares about that? She's okay. Sandoval eventually gets there. He says that the podcast was bull-eat. And Lisa says, why are you even listening to that podcast? And he's like, I don't know, Lisa, I don't know. And Lisa says, so you just want to torture yourself? And he says, yes, I do. Then some stuff happens. So there is some movement. Ariana finally accepted the offer. But because that's a 2-month offer, he doesn't even know if he even wants to keep the house anymore, or if he can realistically even afford to keep it. Then Lala pops up and she asks Lisa if she can host her sperm party. Lisa says, well, I don't want sperm all around my house. But Lala says that they're going to do a vote on who her donor is going to be. I thought she had already decided, but then Lisa, of course, says yes. Then Brock and Sheena go to Ariana's house. Now, the messy bartender and Tom Tom's overheard, so then he went to go tell Ariana that he overheard Sandoval say that he is having second thoughts about keeping the house. But that's what Ariana was trying to say from the very beginning. Let's just sell it. They talk about the Bethany and Raquel podcast, which is now 4 parts. And now this is freaking weird and psychotic behavior. Sheena is going to release a song about Raquel and this quote-unquote traumatic experience. Sheena, you're a weirdo. I don't know why you even have friends. But it was really nice, though. Credit to them that Scheana and Brock, they did put in some elbow grease and they started to clean, organize, and declutter Ariana's house, because this looked like an episode of Hoarders. We're talking old presents, clothes, shoes, food, boxes, just horrible, disgusting, and filthy. Moving along, Sandoval is rehearsing. Genuine question. Does anyone like how he sings? Just a question. James pops in with his dog, which the dog was also talked about on the podcast. So James is there to talk to Sandoval to see how he's doing. Sandoval says he clearly cared more for her than she did for him. He says he wanted closure and he's not going to get it. And Sandoval says that Raquel is selfish, selfish, selfish. I think Sandoval was happy that James was there because they both can relate on Raquel talking bad about them on a podcast. But then they do argue a little because James says, I don't think y'all were ever in love. I think I just wanted to hook up. And Sandoval says, no, that's not true. You have no idea how many times I went to her house. I really did love her. And then James leaves. They kind of cuss each other out, but it was not that serious. Then finally, some wealth, some class, some elegance. LVP's Villa Rosa. Great decorations and flowers for the party for Lala. So, during the party, everyone's there eating, they had good food, and Allie asks Katie if she's okay after fighting with Lala because Allie tells Katie that Lala said that Katie gets really mad and is miserable. Katie says, whoa, Lala said that? So now Katie is getting a little mad that Lala is talking bad behind her back. In the meantime, Tom Dorinda Schwartz goes over to Sandoval's, and apparently Sandoval has a new assistant, some tattooed guy. Sandoval has a proposition for Schwartz. He says, I could keep the house if we became roommates. And Schwartz is like, nah, the optics of that would look horrible, and it's too much rent, and he's not really getting anything out of it. Sandoval says, just think about it. But going back to the party, Lala is very emotional. She cries, and she says that she's a good mom. She has some games for them called Pin the Sperm. So just like pin the tail on the donkey, but this time they get blindfolded and pin a sperm sticker on a picture of a vagina. It was funny for them. Then time to pick the donor. So she invites the guy who works at the sperm bank, and then they start going through donor by donor. And I'm sorry, y'all, I said this last week, but I gotta say it again. I couldn't help but hear once again the Southern Belle Phaedra saying, you spend your weekends going to sperm banks looking through catalogs to try and find a donor, because you guys, they were literally going through a catalog that states the guy's height, education, and all that stuff. Then the ladies vote on what donor they choose, and they all end up picking donor one. Interesting. Definitely different, but again, happy for Lala. As we know, she is pregnant currently. The next day, Allie is telling James about the party. She's talking about, I needed the donors' birthdays to know their astrology. Girl, bye. But she does bring up to him that Lisa asked her if she wanted kids in the future and when would she have them. And James says he definitely wants to get married and have kids, but she doesn't. It's not that she doesn't want to, but she doesn't necessarily want to, if that makes sense. James starts to cry. He starts to cry because he wants those things and he doesn't want to waste his time like he did with Raquel. She tries to say, well, I do see a future with you, but that definitely upset him. Then there is some event at Tom Tom's. It's called the Tom Tom Brunch. Good turnout. Everyone's there. James does apologize to Sandoval real quick. And everybody's just hanging out, eating some great food. Lala then asks, Katie and Allie, what were y'all talking about yesterday at my party? And Katie says, oh, well, Allie told me that you said I was miserable and that I got angry really quickly. Lala gets heated and says, whoa, I did not use the word miserable at all. Did she tell you I used that word? But then Lala does stand. She's still standing on thinking that Katie doesn't seem happy. She also doesn't know where her place is with her anymore as a friend. Lala says, maybe you don't have time for me. And Katie says, yes, I do have time for you. I have no kids, no husband, no nothing. I have time for you. And this shocked me. Katie starts to get in tears. She got tears in her eyes, and she says that she does try to be friends with Lala. And Lala says, let's continue to be there for one another. Let's go back to that good place that we've been. And they agree. It really did surprise me to just see that emotion from Katie, regarding her and Lala's friendship. So then everybody's then hanging out, dancing, drinking. Thomas looking for houses, and then Sheena approaches him to bring up the Raquel podcast. He says he feels bad. He feels like there was no closure. Sheena says, well, none of us are going to get closure, but I did write a song about it. Sandoval's like, wait a minute. You wrote a song about my affair? And Sheena's like, yes, but it's like open to interpretation. But here's the thing. Because he first thought they were like in a better place, him and Sheena. Two, how he's soothing about the podcast. Three, because he knows that he wouldn't do that to her. And four, because he feels like she's profiting about this yet again. He gets angry and gets up and leaves. The song, Sheena says that it talks about uh, uh, a Jetta, a Mercedes, I don't know, but it sounds very childish. The last thing that Sandoval says as he gets his bags and goes, he just says, keep profiting off my misery. And he just walks out. And that was the end of the episode. Pretty good episode. Next week, Jax is gonna confront Lisa Vanderpump. That'll be interesting. But yeah, guys, let me know what are your thoughts. I'm surprised that they mentioned and like really got into the Raquel podcast, because I do remember all of us listening to it in real time when she did it with Bethany Frankel. So that was interesting. Listen now, Raquel has been going off lately. I don't know what her angle is anymore. But anyway, that's what this episode was. Let me know your thoughts. What did you think about everything? What do you think about Sheena writing a song? Does anyone else think that's weird, or is that just me? And yeah, you guys let me know anything you want to tell me. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a great one. Bye.